I'm Dot Davis.
And Miss Davis, how long have you lived in the Garden District?
Well, actually, all my life. I lived here as a child and went to West End Grammar School, where Mr. L.S. Rugg was the principal. And then I have lived here since I've been married and raised my family right over there on White Street, 4 children. And then when the house got to be, we downsized to this house. I was there 30 years, I've been here 20, and then my earlier years, because I'm 88. When I started kindergarten, everybody walked to school. I went with the older children. We walked to West End, which is on Bolton Avenue. And then my kindergarten teacher lived on Thornton Court, and she would bring me home at noon because the others stayed till 3, you know. And I walked 1 block over the Hill Street to where I lived. So back then, there was a fellow that would come through the neighborhood, and he had a little Shetland pony. And for a fee, like $1 or I don't know what, how much, you could sit your child on it, and they'd take a picture. You know, I had never been on a horse. I didn't know how to ride. And I had on my best coat and hat, I'm sure, for the picture, and my little Roman sandals, you know. I was really dressed up for the picture.
Oh,
but
that's so funny.
But I have friends whose children also have these pictures, and we wonder what became of the poor old man and his pony. Of course, when I was a child, the big swimming pool was over there where the zoo is now, and we could all go over there and spend it was a big swimming pool. We could go over there and spend all afternoon for a nickel, I guess. I have to say, this air conditioning is definitely good. I grew up with fans, and we didn't have all that. If you had ceiling fans, most of these houses have got ceiling fans, and after dark, people would go outside and sit outside to cool off, if you could. Our nights sometimes as hot as the days.
I think that's true. Yeah.
It's sort of strange that and we didn't start school until the day after Labor Day.
Right.
And so that you got through August without having to be in school, because see, they were not air conditioned either, and it would have been like 90 degrees in there. And then we got out in the summer, in June. I'm sure it was June. Actually, I graduated from Bolton High School D-Day, June the 6th, 1944. We seemed to do a lot in spite of the war. We still had football games, and I went on debate trips to New Orleans and Shreveport and things like that. Everyone remembers when Pearl Harbor was bombed, and I remember that we came to school on Monday the next day, and we all went into the Bolton Auditorium and heard the radio announcement from Franklin Roosevelt. And all of us knew that was a life-changing experience. And afterwards, I went to Newcomb College, and my husband came back from the war and came to Tulane Med School, and that's where we met.
Oh.
So he was a native also. He grew up right down here on Albert Street.
Okay.
So we're home. This is home to us.
Yes.
I've always loved the Garden District because people can be individual here. You know, when suburbs began, they all look alike. Well, of course, I loved the home we lived on White Street. When I was growing up, the Staffords lived there, Grove Stafford, and he had a big family. I was friends with most of them, and it was just a great house. So I was very happy to move there. Since they had 5, we had 4. It was a nice place for the family. The convenience. You know, I can be anywhere in 10 minutes, anywhere, and you get spoiled of that, I think. And then I lived on Jackson Street after that, on the corner over there on Jackson and 21st, I guess it is. And as a matter of fact, my son lives right over here. My daughter lives 1 block from there on Reese Street. So 2 of my 4 children have stayed in Alexandria. I'll tell you one thing I'll never stop missing, and that's the Owl Fine Foods. We had a wonderful little grocery store right over there on Chester Street. It was there when I was little, and you could sign a ticket. And my children signed the ticket, and it was so convenient. I mean, if I had fried fish and no ketchup, somebody could run to the Owl and get a bottle and be back before we needed it. It was just a great... The Mertens, Mr. Mertens was the one that owned it, and I've always missed it. It was kind of a community gathering place. You know, you didn't just go in there and shop. You always met friends and visited, and Mr. Mertens was so great. He always spoke to you and wanted to know if you found everything. And if you didn't, he would get it for you.
Oh, wow.
So I still miss the Owl Fine Foods. I think it's a friendly feeling here. I don't know whether they have that in the suburbs, because I haven't lived in one.